So Cam Newton would like to get back in the NFL. And obviously, former MVP of the league, had a great run, but he wasn't in the league last year, and it's been kind of a downward trend for Cam Newton over the past couple of years. He showed up at Auburn's Pro Day, wanted to show everybody he could still make some throws.
Can we pause before we get to like what he said recently? 'Cause
yeah.
I'm more curious, like what the consensus is. Like, do you guys think that it's more him just not wanting to take on a role where he's going to be designated as a backup and maybe the money's not right? Or do you think it's maybe – I mean, one of the things that I think Cam does is he pumps out – I think the videos are sweet. He puts out a lot of good content, whether it's like an interview or if he's working out. But there's also a lot of teams, and we've seen this before, where like when you're not the guy, teams don't want the backup to be doing that. Like they just want you to be like a shadow, you know? They want you to be a shadow of the guy who is the guy until it's your turn to play, and then you can take over. But, like, do you think it's more that, or do you think it's just maybe more Cam and him not wanting to take a discount or take a role where he's not the starter, especially after being an MVP?
I think it's more that. I think the loudest guy in the room can't be the guy who's not playing. You know, it's like the buddy who's not going to fight, but he's running his mouth, and Cam's loud, not meaning, you know, in an actual literal way.
What do you mean by that?
Well, no, just in
what do you mean by that, Jonas?
You know, if he goes and backs up a quarterback, a lot of the conversation's going to be about the former MVP who's backing you up. I just think some guys just aren't good fits for that.
But that doesn't always equate. Like a former MVP is your backup. That's a problem. That doesn't always equate.
Well, like Tim Tebow is a backup. Tim Tebow is a backup. A terrible idea, I think. Colin Kaepernick is a backup. Terrible idea, I think.
Well, here's the truth. It's a fine line because I've said this before. There's some guys who are great backups. You don't know why? Because they don't actually want to play. like they don't actually want to get in the game and play.
Wait, what?
They would just want to sit there, hold a clipboard, and make a lot of money, and then they want to keep pumping up the guy who starts. I swear to God, like this is the case. You will find some guys who they don't want to play. When they do want to play, they want to do it in the preseason because they know they're going to go in there a bunch of backups, and they're going to be able to dice it up, put up a bunch of stats, put on some good tape, and then still look the part. I mean, there's countless guys you've seen that have done that and have hung on for a long time, buddying up to the starter. That's just the reality. When there's a solidified starter on a roster, he doesn't want some a-hole coming in and every single day challenging him. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want a distraction. He's not trying to compete with some dude on the roster. He's competing for a Super Bowl. He's focused on everything else. So he doesn't need a distraction or someone who's not helping him prepare or doing the things that he needs them to do. And so there's plenty of guys who would do that. It's like some of the names you just gave, like Tim Tebow, super competitive guy. He wants to play. He wants a shot. That's how he always was. Same thing with Cam Newton. He's an MVP. He's been to a Super Bowl. I'm sure. I can guarantee you, and he said it publicly, he knows he's better than some of the other guys who are probably starting in today's game. And he's probably not wrong. But other teams don't see it the same way. And so there's a fine line to this. And organizations know it too. Like, they don't want to bring a guy in there who's going to bring down the mood because he's not playing. You know, they want a guy who sits in there and is going to be, you know, quiet but speak up with something when spoken upon and able to, you know, help give them some help with some of their experience and things they've seen. But taking on a much different role. But that's just the truth of it, man.
I mean, what coach or organization would want a player on their team that doesn't think they're better than the person that's in front of them? I mean, that would be the first thing that you would throw out there. But then the idea of it is those names that you named, Jonas, all right, Kaepernick, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, it's the presence. That's what makes saying I'm better than these starters out here. That's what makes it. It takes the stakes very high.
By the way, you like how I threw Tebow in there, so they couldn't come after me. You know what I mean?
We've truly have made this kind of like a deal. Like, you know, this has become a deal. Anyway, you did throw Tim Tebow in there.
I did.
But, I mean,
clear sailing from here. I'm good. What up, teams?
I could have went down a road that would have been a
No, go down that road.
No, I'm not. I'm going to stay focused on my point. The point is that those guys are a presence media-wise, like outside of just being dominant presence where guys are going to be followers to them, not just teammates to them. They're going to be followers, all three of them. I'm going to follow Cam Newton. I am a follower of Tim Tebow. I am a follower of Colin Kaepernick. So now you're creating a unnecessary risk of sorts. It's a risk by dividing your locker room because it's a guarantee at some point your starter's going to have a poor game. He's going to have a poor showing. It's guaranteed. Like it happens. The moment you have a poor showing, you know what everybody's going to do? They're going to be looking like, why ain't Cam playing? Yo, what's up with Tim? Why isn't Tim Tebow playing? Why are they up against Tim? Oh, we know why they're up against Cap. Like, man, come on, Cap. Like, they need to play Cap. And then once that starts, it's over. It's over because now you're looking at your starter like, come on, dog. Like, really? Like, everybody's starting to talk. Everybody's looking at each other. And then now your fans are doing it. And now your media is doing it. And now you have a mess.
Isn't that kind of, if you just think about that, isn't that kind of odd that in the one place in the NFL where you don't want to have a really, really, really good player is at backup quarterback? Like it's almost like the one place where you don't want anybody to feel threatened, and it's at that one place because it would cause that sort of an issue. Like it's just kind of odd how that works because everywhere else it feels like there's competition. And Brady's talked about this before. Like why do they go on the cheap, so to speak, so much with the backup quarterback? Why wouldn't you want to bring in somebody or the 3 quarterback rule and all this? It's like from starter to backup is such a drop off in so many places.
I lived that. My rookie year, Brad Johnson was our starter. Jeff George was our backup.
Howitzer.
Dude,
exactly.
Throw through a wall right now if you wanted to.
Y'all both commented about the backup. Think about that. And you're right. That man's arm was crazy. Like, I mean, here's the point. Brad Johnson was a dope starter and went on to win a Super Bowl the very next year. So it's kind of like when you have that going on in the locker room, you want to know what happened? It's like, man, I'm cool with Brad. We were here with Brad. We are the old guard. Like, there's a new owner. He's bringing in his new people, this, that, and the other. Guys that have been a part of this team, making it to the playoffs, doing pretty well, trending in the right direction. They're getting unseated. They're losing their jobs to the guys that the new owner wants to be a part of, that they want them to play. And now you bring in Jeff George. We're in practices. We're in OTAs. And clearly Jeff George's arm is better than Brad Johnson's. Clearly.
And Brad better than most people in the league.
But Brad Johnson is the guy.
Right.
And the first sign of any type of trouble that Norv had, he had to put the guy that the owner wanted on the team. He had to put him in the game. It was not the right decision. Because while Jeff George's arm was super dope, and I love Jeff George, a lot of people didn't like him. I thought Jeff was cool. He was always cool to me. But the moment you put Jeff George in, you lost half of that locker room. Yeah. And you took away really the leadership value that Brad Johnson had established. Like, you took it away. And so when you have a talented backup that's as talented, if not better, than your starter, you are taking a serious I don't even know if it's necessary risk. You are taking a serious risk by having that type of a talent on your bench behind as a backup. Like, that's just, even if they were the most humble dude in the world, even if they were like just – because Tim Tebow's a humble dude. I mean, so if you're talking about they're loud and this and that, well, maybe the guy isn't loud. But if his game is loud, if his game is good, if he's got a game, you're putting yourself in danger having that type of guy as your backup.
I think people can misconstrue actions and words, right? There's guys who are verbally loud, and there's guys whose actions create noise. And those are both things that, again, an organization doesn't want. They don't want that out of their backup. Again, they want him to be a shadow. They want to be like Peter Pan's shadow, bro. He's going to fall the start around. That's it. And be able to go in there and be serviceable. But, Jonas, I didn't mean to distract from the comments.
Good conversation.
Because it's interesting, the teams that he laid out that he'd be willing to back up, or the quarterbacks he'd be willing to back up.
So according to Cam Newton, the list of quarterbacks that he would be willing to back up are Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Malik Willis, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Sam Howell, and including
they're all black.
The rookie. I mean,
not really.
Every last one of them is all black.
I mean,
I'm joking.
I don't have the greatest TV in the world, but Josh Allen doesn't appear to fill that list.
He's light skinned to me,
or Sam Howell, but there is. He did list, some of the rookies coming into the NFL quarterback. Cam Newton, the rookies that he would be willing to back up. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson.
All black.
A little bit
racist.
Everything black.
Brady. Brady,
you're not a Will Levis fan?
Let me tell you something. They're going to be rioting in Lexington if Will Levis's name does not pop up.
Will Levis is too jacked
right
up. Right? He's too jacked up to be good at quarterback. Mind you, one of the most jacked up, the biggest Adonis that I've ever seen and played against is Cam Newton.
Oh, my gosh.
No one said that about
ridiculous.
Cam Newton when he came out, but apparently Will Levis is too jacked up. I mean, Cam's won an MVP. He's won the NFC Conference. He's won a lot of games, played a lot of good football, but apparently, he wasn't too jacked up. That whole narrative, man. And it's funny, it comes from agents. It comes from other players' agents trying to knock down other guys so their guy can shine, which is so high school, gossipy, cliquey, just immature and stupid. There's enough of an opportunity for all these guys to get drafted. You don't need to badmouth other guys and make stuff up that other teams said. And it's just, I hate that narrative. I do.
It's kind of, if he really wants back in the NFL that bad, why eliminate the opportunities elsewhere?
2/3 of the league?
Yeah. It's to me, I just feel like
he's backing up Malik Willis, so he wants to be third string in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Malik Willis is the starter there. It's Ryan Tannehill, so is that how that works?
Yeah, what does that say about Ryan Tannehill?
What's the backup? All right,
you want me to back up to the backup?
You're the back to the backup in Tennessee, apparently.
Yeah, a lot of, but it did seem like there was a theme there. I don't know, for some of those. As LaVar pointed out. I want to be clear, LaVar pointed that out.
I hope he does get an opportunity to get back.
I love Cam Newton.
First off, and by the way, he is one of the better 32 quarterbacks.
Yes.
All right, bottom line, he is. I know his game might not be the same as what it used to be, because he's not as young and maybe not quite as mobile as he used to be. But the reality is he's right. He probably is better than some of the guys out there playing. And I hope someone gives him an opportunity, or I hope at least he takes the opportunity to take something that, is maybe against what he wants, but to help him have an opportunity to then prove himself and prove himself right.